Good afternoon. This is Michael Cross here. I'm an educator. I teach psychology, international relations, international finance, author, blogger, uh, all kinds of fun stuff out there in communications. I would encourage you to check out my links in the comment section and, well, you know, check out some information that maybe you're not accustomed to reading in the mainstream media. So, anyway, what I would like to deal with today is a topic that, well, I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she's got a daughter who's like in her 20s and married. And she said her daughter and husband have chosen, or at least say, that they don't want to have children. And they're saying that the reason is because of this, that they feel that the world seems to be a bad place and getting worse. They don't want to bring a child into an uncertain world. And ironically, even though the birth rate in the Western nations, as well as quite a few Asian nations and elsewhere, it has never been lower than it ever has. I mean, it's never been this low. It's not even near replacement in many parts of the world. For some reason, the last couple of years, there's been this incredible push by people, motivated by all kinds of different concerns, to try to convince people not to have children. I was reading just the other day, a famous celebrity said that she doesn't want to have kids until the environmental mess is fixed. I mean, what that would mean, I have no clue. I mean, the environment is always going to have problems. The environment had problems, in a sense, before even humans arrived on this planet. But, this is something that's just reaching out there and seems so pervasive. And yet I wonder, is the world really that bad a place? Is it going to get worse? I don't think so. And we need to back up away from all the negativity and sensationalism that we see presented on television and in, news media and, anything that you find on the internet. And let's try to look at maybe the positive. Although I will admit, negative sells. Okay, people want to read more about things that are like, oh my gosh, the world's going to end, than if you had an article about, hey, the world's getting better. I guarantee you'll get more clickbait on sensational stuff. And then this reinforces the idea that the world is, gloom and doom. I think of these people that, in the 60s, there were cults that they were like, the world's going to end. And they went out in the middle of nowhere and tried to establish their own society. And most of the time it didn't work. But yet they just moved on. The people moved on. Who knows if they had families later or not. But the thing is, the world's still here. And I remember when back in, my kids would say back in the ancient days, I joked that I was on Noah's boat with him. When I was in high school, I remember all this, like, oh my gosh, pollution, it's going to cause a new ice age. We're all going to freeze. We're all going to die in this the world's going to be as cold as Mars. And so forth. Well, that didn't happen. But then later it was replaced by, the world's going to heat up like Venus. And you know what? I think 100 years from now, I don't know what people will be saying, but I don't think the world's going to end. It seriously is not. A lot of people think, we got so many people in the world right now, that how are we going to feed them? Populations are rising. But look up some Hans Rosling stuff. He really amazing expert on demographics. And he noted in one video about population that the population's leveling off. And that really what we have is the reason for population growth right now primarily is due to the fact of people living longer. Okay? There are some countries in the world where only 25, 30 years ago, people had average lifespans in their 40s. And now they're living to their 60s and 70s, maybe more. Well, of course that's going to raise population, but not in long-term projections. Because unless they cure aging, which I will note, scientists talk about that, we might have ways of extending lifespans well beyond what we expect today. Speaking of Noah's time, maybe we'll live as long as people were purported to have lived back in that era. But that seems like that would be awesome. And when we look at the technology we have, now I'm not one of those people that believes technology is going to cure every single thing we have in the world, and I've turned out videos talking about some of the dangers of applying technology to humanity. But I have every bit of faith that technology will be such that our ability to be able to harness energy from the sun and other methods is going to expand. It's going to be like comparing solar energy today is going to be like comparing a calculator in 1975 to, well, your PC or your laptop when it comes to capabilities. And this will solve a lot of the problems that right now we're thinking, oh my gosh, the oil's going to disappear. By the way, when I was in high school, my teachers always said that oil would disappear sometime around the year 2000. No one would have oil anymore. It'd be gone. Well, we have a lot more people driving now, and we seem not to be running out of oil. But still, eventually we will have to find alternatives. And this is the irony. We get people that are bright and caring and empathetic and wanting a better future, and then they decide, no, we're not going to have kids. Well, what does that do? It's almost like you're breeding out these really desirable traits. You're maybe taking a generation, a lot of people out of a generation that might have been out there doing research and finding new ways to benefit humanity agriculturally, in regards to energy, in regards to applying technology to make our lives easier. And sure, technology comes with its risk. I mean, if you watch any of presentations from world leaders at their various conferences, they admit they don't know what technology is going to do in regards to people, employment and all these kinds of things in the future. But you know what? Humans are very adaptable. In fact, I will say this. It's very important. Charles Darwin, he wrote The Origin of the Species and Descent of Man. I'm sure if today he was alive and came and spoke to a university, he'd be banned. But he did actually say that the future did not belong to the most intelligent or the most fit, but the people that could adapt. Okay? There are challenges today. Yes. There were challenges. My parents were born like almost 100 years ago. Okay? And they faced challenges. They survived the Spanish flu epidemic. They survived wars. My dad was in World War II. He survived. There was polio that was killing people, and all kinds of other diseases that you had to be worried about. Oh my gosh, my kid's showing these symptoms. Are they going to live? And we've eradicated a lot of that. Okay, we've gotten rid of those kinds of problems. And it used to be very common for people to go to work in the factories and the steel mills and the lumber factories and so forth. And you would always be worried. The wife would usually, since it was mostly men working in those jobs, would always be worried about that phone call that would come while the husband was at work saying, "Are you the wife of?" Because it was dangerous. A lot of people died. Uh, it's much safer to work in these kinds of jobs now. But the thing is that we do have a lot of things to look forward to. Like I said, increased lifespans, uh, the ability to use technology to harness things that we have. It would make some of the science fiction movies today seem as weird as when we watch classic Star Treks and like, oh my gosh, look, isn't we have cell phones that are better than their communication devices and those kinds of things. The thing is, the 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 future is going to belong to the people who show up. Okay, and the people who show up are going to be the ones that are being born right now. And so to think that just stop having kids is going to make things better, it's not. And I've cited a few examples, but there's many reasons why it just will make things actually worse. And so maybe it takes a little stepping back and analyzing and really pondering where we're at today, where we're going, where we could go. Oh yes, there's many directions. We could go this direction, this direction. I've talked about possible dystopian futures, and then of course there's the opposite extreme. Very utopian style futures. But the people that are here will make those choices, and I think they'll make wise choices. I think overall, the future is a place that's going to be spectacular, and really having kids today is like giving a gift, not just to humanity, but to allow these children to experience that is phenomenal. Anyway, that's all for this afternoon, and I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out some past interviews and presentations, and check back in the future for more. Take care now.